Chad Shepard, he said, I think Thompson is going to have some big numbers passing. I think so too. I think that, like I said, he is an accurate son of a gun, man. He's got that pinpoint accuracy that you just can't teach. I mean, the thing to me is, and I wrote this down. Let's see here. I wrote it somewhere down here, right? Oh yeah, I wrote it down right here. You can kind of see it. There's a whole lot of chicken scratch. Sorry. One of the things I wrote down was Casey Thompson. He's deadly accurate, and if you give him some weapons and you give him time, kid can be elite. I mean, he can, and that's the big thing, right? And that's why it's so important. If you can get Whipple back and him back for a second year together, elite offense. I mean, all the problems should start to dissipate, right? Let's see here. We can do this. Eric Green says we can do this. You're right. Confidence is the key. Yeah, it is. 100% it is. There's looking around college football today, Oregon, which was the number 11 team in the country, got smacked down by the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, that with a first-year coach and everything kind of going on, that could be a program-defining loss for them, right? This is it's a building block game, right? And then you go into the Georgia Southern game. There's some things that should match up well for us. And I think that, like I said, you just get into that game, you stop the run game, you sort of get back and you start playing better on defense. And that starts up front, right? You start playing better up front on defense and you start getting Casey Thompson sort of going. You call the right game plan, right? Here's what I think, right? They're waiting too long. They're waiting too long to start trying to get these bell cow running backs going. Start pounding them early, like you guys were saying in the comment section. Start throwing some play action in there. Start playing. They did it against Northwestern early in that game. They got down at the goal line. Casey Thompson ran it in. Start doing some things like that. That's the big thing that you got to see from them, right? It's not you got to do all this other stuff here, right? It's just let's get them to the point where we're playing chess, not checkers, right? When we're playing chess, hey, we're running the ball early in the first half, and we're just absolutely wearing teams down in the first half. Once you start seeing them start walking guys down, inside that box, safeties, defensive backs inside that box, man, that's when we start playing it vertically, right? And then you're cooking. I mean, who can stop you at that point with the athletes that we have? I mean, pretty much there's not a whole lot of other teams as long as you can hold up on defense. I mean, nobody, right? Let's see here. Wade Farr says, why did Frost do squib kick, onside long kick? Thought they would never do anything close to that type of kick after all the backlash last week. Ma'am, that was certainly an interesting call there. I don't think he could necessarily do the onside kick. So he said, well, we're going to try to, find something there. Right. And we'll see what we can kind of do. They kind of gave him the field position there. And it was just one of those sort of decisions where I think on special teams, he tried to get cute. He tried to look for a mismatch and, I don't think it was necessarily there. It's tough. It's really tough. It almost seems, I don't know, as far as the kicking team goes, they got a new special teams coach this year. And it seems like Scott Frost is calling a lot more of these plays. I don't know if he said something. Maybe you guys can sort of tell me whether he is calling this stuff or not. I know he definitely called that onside kick. He sort of did that. I don't know if he had anything to do with this. It may not have been him, right? He may not have certainly been the one to say that. But yeah, I mean, there was some other things too in this game where special teams kind of had me a little concerned. And by that, I mean, I was really concerned about the missed field goal there. It looked like North Dakota was getting through on those field goal attempts. The other thing I would say is, the other thing I was going to say about that too is, it was that gunner on the punt return very early in the game where he reached. I don't know if you guys saw this. Tell me if you saw it or not. I almost lost my mind where clearly you don't have to touch it. And, you're going to get the ball. Don't worry about it. Just don't touch it, right? Even if North Dakota touches the ball, the play's dead. I mean, it's dead. They can't do anything. The ball's down there, right? Why do you try to go pick that up? I don't get it. It's one of those things where you're like, God, man, can we just have a clean game on special teams? That's all I'm asking, right? Let's see here. Kyle McGrew says, by what year can you guess we will start getting 5-star talent within 5 years? I think so. Part of it is with 5 stars. They just want to know that they're going to be put in the right position. You know what I mean? They're going to be in a position where they can come in and they can play. Um, and a lot of times, you're going to have to, like a team like Nebraska. It's a power. It's a one of the blue bloods of college football. You know, they're going to have to do a better job at the talent they've got. They've actually, believe it or not, recruited the 24th best recruiting class in the country since Scott Frost has been there. Right? Um, they just have to do a better job at managing that talent. I mean, if you start getting some 8, 9 win seasons in there, and man, the 5 stars are going to start coming back. That's what you have to do, right? You're going to have to win some games, start winning 8, 9 games, especially with the college football playoff, by the way, expanding to 12 teams, right? That's going to hopefully start spreading this around a little bit more, right? Now, obviously, we got to get back up into the top 12 to get there. You're probably going to have to be number 2 or number 3, arguably in the Big Ten to see that. But they're going to have to do a better job at sort of managing the talent they have. They can't let these guys transfer out. They've got to be able to do really well with the 4 stars. And O'Shawn Mathis, Garrett Nelson, some of these guys that they've got here, or Casey Thompson is a great example of this. Trey Palmer. They have to do a really good job at managing them, and they're doing that, right? I mean, I think in the first couple games, Trey Palmer they've been feeding that guy. I mean, they've just been feeding him, on offense, especially with Travis Vokalek getting hurt, in that first game. I mean, his backup, by the way, he had a drop early in the game and he came back and redeemed himself throughout it. So he did a good job at that. I'd say they have to do a good job at managing the talent, right? I would say my guess is, if we can sort of redeem ourselves, get back to 7, 8 wins this year, which I think is still in the realm of possibilities, the recruiting is going to do a lot better, right? I think we'll probably get 1 or 2 5-stars this year. Eric Green, I'm going to take probably a couple more comments after this, and we're going to go ahead and sign off. Eric Green said, yes, and we have 6'2" wide receiver, and they can't double team everybody, and Palmer across the middle. Yeah, you're right. I mean, you can't. You can't double team the wide receivers, right? It's, there's just so much talent that Nebraska has, and they're starting to get them on the field, right? Omar Manning, and this to me was another thing that sort of hurt Nebraska in the Northwestern game. Omar Manning was banged up. He didn't play in that game, right? And to me, that's kind of what I talked about, where I don't know how early on that was. I don't know if it was a week of, day of, whatever decision where he got banged up. But Omar Manning, Alante Brown, those guys have got to step up, and you got to get them sort of going alongside of Trey Palmer with the loss of Travis Vokalek, right? And hopefully Vokalek can get back in here before the Oklahoma game. That's going to be the real big time where we're going to need him, right? Because you need to get him and Casey Thompson back on the same page. And it almost seemed like they were, like in the first game against Northwestern. I mean, they were coming together. I mean, they were just meshing beautifully, right? And when he got hurt, that sort of seemed to disrupt the offense a lot.